Hey everyone, and welcome. You've seen them, right? In sci-fi movies, at World's Fairs, maybe even at Disney World. Monorails. They are the absolute symbol of a sleek, clean, futuristic city. But are they really the silver bullet for our traffic woes, or are they just a costly and super complicated detour? Today, we're going to dig in and find out. I mean, just look at this. This is the image that comes to mind for everyone. A train just gliding silently above all the chaos and traffic down below. The promise is absolutely incredible, right? A transit system that doesn't have to fight with cars, that gives you a smooth, quiet, and fast ride. It's pitched as this elegant solution to our traffic nightmares. But how does it actually work? Okay, let's get into it. The name monorail is actually a little bit of a simplification. It really refers to any system where the vehicle rides on or hangs from a single beam. But there are a couple of very different ways that can happen. So here's the textbook definition. The key thing to remember is that the beam itself does double duty. It's both the track and the structural support. That's what gives monorails that really distinct, slender look, compared to, say, a traditional elevated train or a freeway. And this slide, wow, it just perfectly shows you the two main flavors. On the left, you've got the suspended type, like that historic Schwebebahn in Germany. The train is literally hanging below the beam. Then on the right, you have the much more common straddle beam design, where the train kind of wraps around the guideway. That's the one you see in places like Seattle and Las Vegas, and it's pretty much become the modern standard. So why would a city even consider this technology in the first place? Well, because when they work, they have some pretty amazing advantages over other kinds of transit. Okay, the biggest plus is, without a doubt, safety. Since they're up in the air, there is zero chance of a collision with a car. They also run on rubber tires, which makes them incredibly quiet and smooth. Passengers literally say it feels like you're flying. But here's the really cool part, their climbing ability. A monorail can handle a 10% grade, which is a massive advantage in hilly cities where a normal train would really struggle. And look, don't go thinking these are just some slow-moving amusement park rides. No way. Modern systems are designed for serious city transit, hitting speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour, which is about 50 miles per hour. That's totally competitive with any urban subway system out there. All right, so if they're safe, fast, quiet, and they can climb hills, why isn't every single city building them? Well, this is where that beautiful dream runs smack into a very hard and very expensive reality. Let's get into the downsides that make this technology so surprisingly rare. This, right here, this reveals a massive operational headache. To switch tracks, a monorail has to physically move a huge, heavy chunk of the beam itself. It takes about 15 seconds. A traditional rail switch, it's done in less than 1 second. That huge delay dramatically limits how many trains you can run, and it basically creates a bottleneck for the whole system. And oh, the problems do not stop there. The technology is often proprietary, which means a city gets locked into one company for parts and maintenance, basically forever. And just imagine trying to evacuate a train that's stuck way up in the air. It's a huge challenge. Plus, you can't just connect it to your existing subway lines. And those super quiet rubber tires, yeah, they use about 25 to 30% more energy than steel wheels. So the big takeaway here is that it seems like every single advantage comes with a really serious trade-off. So this isn't just us talking theory, right? Let's look at a real city that actually dug deep into this question. Back in 2015, the Tennessee Department of Transportation kicked off a major study to see if a monorail line would make sense for the super busy I-24 corridor. The proposal? It was pretty ambitious. A nearly 34-mile line connecting downtown Nashville with the booming suburb of Murfreesboro. The whole idea was to create this premium transit service that could hopefully ease some of the worst traffic in the entire region. And here it is, the show-stopping number. Yep, take a look at that. The estimated price tag was over $2 billion for one transit line. That is an enormous public investment, so you'd expect the performance to be absolutely incredible to justify it. So let's break this down. The cost per mile shakes out to over $60 million. But the most eye-opening number here is the projected daily ridership, somewhere between 7,000 and 9,500 people. So you gotta ask the question, is it really worth spending $2 billion for a system that serves fewer people than a really busy bus route? So after all that, the pros, the cons, the staggering cost, the kind of low ridership numbers, what did the official report actually conclude? Well, the verdict was, let's say, complicated. The report basically found that, yes, monorails are technically feasible. They can do the job. But it also made it very clear that they are not some magic bullet. They're a highly specialized option that probably only makes sense in very specific situations, and the national study really showed just how high those financial and practical hurdles can be. And that brings us to the final, bigger question. The monorail is still this powerful symbol of a better future. But as cities are facing tight budgets and really urgent climate goals, is it smarter to just focus on proven, practical, more affordable solutions? Or are these huge, ambitious moonshot projects a necessary risk we have to take to build the cities we all dream of? It's a huge question, and there's no easy answer. Thanks for joining me on this one.